Ulysses, Part 3, Nostos, Episode 14, Oxen of the Sun. The time is close enough 10. The scene, hospital, in this case Holles Street Maternity Hospital, before we adjourn on to Burke's pub and then further on into the night. The colour is white and the technique is embryonic development. Correspondences include hospital being Trinacria, nurses being Lampetie, fertility being the oxen, Phaesthusa or Horne being Helios, fraud or crime being Jove, and of course Ulysses himself once again. The science or art is medicine. The meaning is the eternal flocks. The organ is matrix or uterus. Symbols are fecundation, frauds, and mothers. Beyond Ulysses and Horne the doctor, other characters include Mrs. Mina Purefoy, Dedalus, Mulligan, Lenehan, Haines, and Lynch, and many beyond. The plot. Deshil, Holles, Eamus, Deshil, Holles, Eamus, Deshil, Holles, Eamus. Send us bright one, light one, Horhorn, quickening and wombfruit. Send us bright one, light one, Horhorn, quickening and wombfruit. Send us bright one, light one, Horhorn, quickening and wombfruit. A child is born and there is rejoicing. Mrs. Mina Purefoy no longer weighed down by it after 3 days of labour. Bloom has come to see about Mrs. Purefoy's well-being. That distracted chat he had with Mrs. Breen earlier has stayed with him all day. Nearby, and quite inconsiderately, a bunch of young men, mostly medical students, including Dedalus, are drinking. Already Dedalus is past the point of no return on the alcohol front. Bloom chivalrously decides, thinking of his friendship with Simon, another inveterate drinker, that it might be wise to keep by him. They go to the pub where Dedalus buys absinthe for all, and his consumption of it doesn't help him out with matters of sobriety, but he does become less dour and more able to be, let's say, a version of himself. Bannon arrives, and he speaks of a dalliance with Millie and Mulligan to Mulligan, his companion. The party breaks up, with Mulligan set to travel back to Sandy Cove with Haines, and the extremely drunken Stephen joins Lynch, heading off to find a late night entertainment, if we can euphemize what he's going to do. Bloom, Johnny and the Black Duds, follows on. You move emotion, Steve boy, you're going at some more bluggy drunkables. Will immensely splendiferous standard permit one studder of most extreme poverty and one large-sized grandacious thirst to terminate one's expensive inaugurated libation? Gives a breather. Landlord, have you good wine? Stabil. Christicle. Who's this excrement yellow gospeler on the Merrion Hall? Elijah is coming, washed in the blood of the Lamb. Come on, you wine-fizzling, gin-sizzling, booze-guzzling existences. Come on, you doggone bull-necked, beetle-browed, hog-jowled, peanut-brained, weasel-eyed four-flushers, false alarmed and excess baggage. Come on, you triple extract of infamy. Alexander Dre Christ Dowie, that's yanked to glory most half this planet from Frisco Beach to Vladivostok. For me, this has been the hardest chapter to summarize. The story doesn't yield itself easily, even if it's a short enough chapter in terms of action. Rather, it's a chapter to read for the enjoyment of the language, I think. If we previously have examined storytelling, this chapter is about the birth of the word itself. We go on a merry wander through all manner of ways of speaking, and as Stephen gets drunker, the language gets more flamboyant. There are sections here, like in Finnegan's Wake, to follow, that are much more suited to reading aloud than in the head, that make more sense spoken than ever thought. Bloom steps up greatly in this one. He's ultimately a flawed good man by any standards, but with love as his guide, he is assuredly a good one. He calls to the hospital because of a mention of Mrs. Purefoy's problems earlier in the day, and stays in because of a sense of responsibility to his friend on seeing his son in a bad way. Mrs. Purefoy and Simon Dedalus are both absent in the respective difficulties of their wife and son, and Bloom The egg pushed out of the nest by the cuckoo slips in. Is it a sense of supplanting the rightful man? Joyce generally works hard to ensure that Bloom isn't deified, so perhaps there's an element of that here. However, we are reminded a couple of times that Bloom has no son and no father. Most painfully, possibly, in this line. No, Leopold, name and memory solace thee not. That youthful illusion of thy strength was taken from thee, and in vain. No son of thy loins is by thee. There is none now to be for Leopold, what Leopold was for Rudolph.
And long, still towards that twilight, comes love's old song, and love's old sweet song.